welcome you to our weekly TV show, Latest News Live. Today we have a list of very important guests, all of them well established in their fields, with years of experience in debate for all sorts of social causes. So join us in our discussion tonight on human rights and especially on the concept of freedom. With me this evening is my co-host Bob Brown, a famous reporter and war correspondent. We will talk about people's dreams, fears, the feeling of safety and justice.
Hello Chris, I'm very happy to be here.
Let's introduce our first guest, Laurel White, a lawyer and an advocate for women's rights for several years. Laurel is going to talk to us about the importance to have our own ideas.
Yes, Chris, it is about time in 2020 for all people, regardless of gender or race, to not be afraid to have a voice, to be able to stand their ground. As the famous song says, I won't be silenced, you can't keep me quiet, I cannot be broken, that story is now ending.
Fantastic, Laurel. We will get back to you. Our next guest is Joy Mothers, a musician and songwriter who has always been in the front line fighting exploitation and racism. Hello, Joy.
Hello, Chris. It's good to be here.
Joy, you have a new album coming up as far as I know.
Yes, it's actually called Please Clap for My Small Rap.
We will be very happy to hear one of your songs later on.
With great pleasure.
Moving on to our next guest, we have with us Jacob Black, a professor of aircraft engineering. He's going to talk to us about the importance of imagination and play in the classroom.
Hello Chris, hello Bob, I'm happy to be here with you tonight.
And moving on to our last but not least esteemed guest for the evening, we have with us Ariel Gray, a writer of science and fantasy fiction. She's going to talk to us about how politics and democracy can be understood and integrated by people via the use of symbols and the narration of stories.
Hello everyone, nice to be here. I will argue that people who take part in the public life of the community, if they feel like they belong to a large home with a common culture, or it's safe to grow and create an idea, a symbol for people to believe in, and they will follow.
How does that work exactly, Ariel?
Through stories, Chris. It is important for people to create stories that they share with others. This is the way communities are built. We create myths, literature, poetry, a culture that people share. This process makes them feel that they belong somewhere. It gives them a sense of an identity, and once they have that identity, they hold on to it.
And how do symbols work?
Symbols synthesize in one very strong image all sorts of ideas about things. For example, what's your favorite symbol of freedom?
I'd have to say the Statue of Liberty.
And what does that symbol mean for you?
I guess it reflects everything I love about my country. People moving freely and freedom of expression.
Well, Chris, there you have it. My favorite symbol of freedom is the candle that's lit in the dark. It reminds me how it used to give us light when electricity was not around. A small thing, yet very powerful.
Thank you, Ariel. So today's topic is how we understand freedom. The Declaration of Human Rights tells us we're all born free. But what does that really mean? Laurel, would you like to share your thoughts with us?
Freedom is the right to act, speak or think as we want without constraints in a state where we're not imprisoned or enslaved. For me, freedom is the right to choose your own way in life, pursue the career that you dream, and not being forced to do what society thinks is wise for you to do or what the others decide for you. I specialize in the area of women's rights for many years now, and I must say that even nowadays people expect different things from women than men, where it should be only expected that each human being should decide what they want or can do.
How do we feel free, Bob?
A free world for me is a world where there is no war. A world where people have the opportunity to move around. In my experience as a reporter, I have seen families suffer a great deal when they are not allowed to be with each other because of war. A good country for me is a country where people of all origins come together, work together and live together.
Jacob, in what way is the state of freedom important for a human being?
Well, for me, the right to dream is an essential part of being free. As Anatole France said, in order to achieve greatness, we must dream as well as do. Dreams guide us to our goals. They show us the way to achieve greatness. On the other hand, not being able to dream makes you a person with no sense of purpose, with no interest in life. And without ambitions, without dreams, people cannot grow to be teachers, artists, politicians.
Is freedom a state of mind then?
Absolutely. Take for example, the poem of Dionysius Solomos, Free Besieged. It talks about a very strong division between the warrior's body, which suffer under siege, and their mind, which is free and transcends the wall of their own town. There are no barriers for the human mind. It can fly over all sorts of walls. That's why I love airplanes so much. They allow humans to fly literally, not metaphorically. My favorite symbol of freedom is the white dove. You can see the connection.
I guess, as Milor Forman, the film director, once said, freedom is a world made of clay. Everyone shapes it the way they want, so it fits them. Joey, how do you feel about this statement?
I feel that he's right, and I also have to add that an important aspect of freedom for me is the feeling of safety. Milos Forman also points out that if you are allowed to say in a country, there is no freedom here, I protest, that actually there is freedom here. If you feel in a country that you are threatened in any way, you are not allowed to grow, thinking in a creative way, you will try to survive, and maybe you will succeed in surviving, but you won't be free, you will not live a happy life.
Where do you feel most safe, Bob?
I always feel safe when I am at home. Not because I am indoors, because my family is there and I believe that they have the power to protect me.
For me, feeling safe has nothing to do with the place. It is a feeling I have when I do the things I love, when I create something from the very beginning, when I find fulfillment in my job. When I work, I feel safe. My mind is free to create new surroundings, new worlds in which I am secure. It is a feeling I can carry with me all the time.
Interesting, Laurel. What I find fascinating about what you said is the fact that this kind of feeling follows you wherever you go, whereas I have to go out and find it. For me, safety is found in my neighborhood.
It's the same for me, Chris. When I think of safety, I think of the place where I grew up and the find that I find there. I know that I can always rely on them since I have known them forever. I have strong ties that go back to my childhood. This certainty that this place exists puts my mind at ease whenever I am in distress.
What you described, Jacob, brings us to what I was saying before. People need to rely on their community to feel safe. Otherwise, they will feel broken. And when you feel broken, neither you nor your community can thrive.
Not being able to be with your family and friends is also something that makes you feel broken. If any part of yourself is missing, that happens in worse situations. Really makes someone realize that the small things create our free being.
I guess the small things that form our everyday life are not so small at all. We tend to forget that.
Being able to go to work,
Choose our line of work.
Go to school.
Visit our parents, see our friends.
Walk around our neighborhood. All these things are the very things that make us human, makes us feel good. Along with the stories we share with each other, as Ariel says, we should respect and love one another.
These things also help us fight our fears, is it not right?
Of course, humans overcome fear when we enjoy an everyday life full of the things we have chosen to do. My favorite symbol for freedom is a flying kite. It always brings to mind the habit that I have with my family. I feel safe in that memory.
My favorite symbol is the olive branch. It reminds me of my origin, my grandfather, my roots. Also makes me feel safe. Truth is, however boring politics may seem on the outside, being involved in public life is the only way to ensure that you live in a fair world. Wars result from horrible lies coming from politicians. People do not want this violence that doesn't make any sense.
A very interesting phrase. A fair world. What is a fair world in your opinion, Laurel?
Well, a first step to have a fair world is to listen to children. Have them go to a school where their ideas are being heard, where all students are accepted and there is a certain flexibility, and understanding that there is more than one way to do things.
I agree. This is a very good way to create mature, responsible human beings who want to team up with their friends and not fight against each other.
My favorite symbol is the white poppy that commemorates soldiers that died in First World War. It reminds me of what we have to avoid as a human race.
It would be very fascinating to change the weekly program in the classroom so that it stays stimulating and doesn't become a routine. We should include more artistic and sportsmen at school, boost children's imagination and creativity. In this way, we should encourage them to be strong members of the community.
Schools should be more interesting. All human beings can learn if what they're being taught appeals to their imagination.
So we could say that the fair world is a world where each voice is given space and has her own importance.
A world that allows you to be who you want to be, regardless of gender or race. We have to stress, though, that along with the search for freedom comes a responsibility.
Great, let's talk about responsibility and freedom.
Leaders of the world have great responsibilities along with their powers. Leadership should not be about having the upper hand. It should be about the well-being of the people. But responsibility should not be left to leaders only.
It should be expected from all of us that we are responsible to build the world we dream of. We have to stand up for each other. As I say in my song, through the darkest nights we have the strongest fight. Join the bright side. Show people how to unite.
People unite through ideas.
And symbols and common causes.
And the realization that we are all the same. We talk about the same needs here, the same things that form our everyday life. So, this is the end of tonight's discussion about freedom. Thank you so very much for everything. My friends, tonight's show must come to an end. From all of us here in the studio, a very good night.